Hello everybody, it's me Nate, aka Double Dog, and I'm back with another game review. This time I'm reviewing Bless Unleashed. This game was developed by Round 8 Studios and published by Bandai Namco and was released originally on Xbox on March 12th, 2020, but just received a PS4 release on October 22nd of 2020 with a PC and Steam version coming soon. It is a F2P MMORPG. That's right, people, a free-to-play, massively multiplayer online role-playing game. Try saying that 3 times fast. And this is actually a reboot of the original Bless Online game. Kind of similar to Final Fantasy Online, Realm Reborn. Well, they did the same thing with Bless. Now, as you start off, you play as one of 5 different classes of characters. Your classic ones from your mage, your berserker, and so on. And with 6 different races to pick from, right from the start, you have your custom creation screen where you get to tweak your character to make them look different. They have different hair, different body proportions, skin tone, male, female, the usual stuff that you get to do in an MMORPG. Now, before I get started in other details, I want to let you know this is a rather hefty game, clocking in at around 45 gigs for an install. And it did take a while to get this installed, but considering it is a giant role-playing game, that kind of makes sense, especially when it's a online role-playing game like this. Now, the other main thing I have to point out about Bless Unleashed is it's absolutely free to play, and I'll get into details with that in a minute. But how is this different from, say, playing Final Fantasy or Realm Reborn? Well, honestly, graphically, I find it to be a little bit better in the visual fidelity quality since this is running on Unreal Engine 4, but it does have a lot of glitches. It still is in its early state, and with most games on Unreal, it does have that texture pop in, which, God, I hate, but after a while, you kind of get used to it. And as for the basic story, bad guy shows up, does bad things, causes bad things to happen, and you gotta save the day. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into the details, but rough synopsis, that's basically what the story is. You are a hero that pretty much is saved out of a group of people that are being killed, taken out, and you have to progress your character as you go and level up. Now, your character has their own skill tree and their own special moves, and as you level up, you'll be able to unlock new moves and new combos, and this is a very combo-forward style game. Very combo-driven. Now, unlike Final Fantasy, where it's almost, I wouldn't say it's turn-based, but you got to do moves in a certain order. This one is more of a heavy focus on combo, like hit R1 like 6 times until if your character has the move unlocked, then you can do a super move. L1 trigger will bring up different set of super moves. I'm playing as a mage, so basically I can shoot magic from a distance, and you can recharge your magic and use items and stuff like that. It's basically your typical role-playing style game with a couple little tweaks to it. Like one, you don't regenerate your health, so you got to make sure to be careful to end up using like items and stuff like that. And it is pretty fun. It is a really fun game with a lot of people. It's got your basic expansions with it as well, along with PvP. And the way it's set up too is you do the open world stuff with the different missions as you progress, and you can also get into dungeons that consist of 2 players and up to 5 player teams that go through these dungeons. And hands down, it's not a bad game. But that's where I have to actually let you people know about this. That's where it gets into the free-to-play aspects. How can you have a giant role-playing game that's absolutely free unless you make some money to keep the server up and to add new content? Well, that's why the dreaded word, you're going to hear me say it, microtransactions. Well, not technically microtransactions, it just has a shop. At any time, you can go into the shop and use your gems, or whatever they're called, to buy mostly cosmetics. But I did notice that you can buy boosters. Now, a lot of people will say that that is technically a pay-to-win aspect when it comes into a role-playing game, and I would have to say it's borderline. It's really running that line. You can play this game no problem and grind and get the gold and everything else you need and item drops in order for you to progress your character, level up, and have a good time. But there's certain caveats to it. Now, with the quote free-to-play version, it is the full game, but you do have naturally a limited inventory space and a lot of other limited items that you can expand on if you go and buy with real money, or the in-game currency, which you can buy with real money. And that's basically how they're doing this free-to-play game. You can play it, and it is fun, and you can level up fairly decently and do a lot of the missions and everything. But it does have a borderline pay-to-win aspect to where if you are a whale and you're willing to spend a bunch of money, you can go and buy a bunch of boosters and a bunch of other stuff, including expanded inventory spaces, expanded character slots, mounts, costumes, and stuff like that. Or you can earn them in-game. You really can. And on average, for every one of their little crystals, it costs a penny per crystal. You're looking at $10 for 1,000 crystals. And on average, it costs $10 per mount and $20 per costume. Fortunately, other than the fact that the mounts, some of them move faster if you buy the more expensive ones, I've noticed, they're not required to play the game. But hands down, you can tell their shop, since they do have to make money. I do respect the fact they have to make money to keep this game going. And it is a fun game. It does play well. Honestly, I think their lock-on needs some tweaking, because you can lock onto an enemy and you can roll out of the way, you can sprint out of the way. You have a little meter that'll dissipate over time, of course, that you have to let recharge in order to be able to do your run or your roll. Like I said, for my character, you hold down one button to recharge your magic so you can keep casting your spells. And like I said, it is a fun game, and there's a lot of people playing it. And, for the stability of the servers, at least so far, seem to be fairly decent. I just have noticed some glitching. I have noticed a massive texture pop in. I blame that more on the Unreal 4 game engine, because something about Unreal, it has that pop in on textures. But other than that, I love the enemy designs. I love the frantic combo heavy combat that is in all real time. So if you see an enemy getting ready to attack you, you can roll out of the way and be very strategic with your moveset in order to beat these enemies. And much like any other online role-playing game, it's got thousands of different quests you can do in a massive open world as you try to progress to get your character up strong enough to get rid of the main bad guy that pretty much does the bad stuff at the beginning after a festival. But in the end, I would have to say, if you are a fan of MMORPGs, and if you don't mind at least trying it, a little taste, I can recommend, if you have the space and the time, to download and check out Bless Unleashed today. It is a pretty decent game. While it does have its faults, it has been improved quite drastically over the time they've spent in development. And like I said, it still needs improvement and some fine-tuning, but overall, I do like the characters you can create. I do like the different abilities and skill trees of all the characters that you have. The art style is pretty well done. I love the enemy designs, and overall, it is a fun game to play in single player. Well, I wouldn't say single player, but by yourself. It is fun to play, and it's really fun when you have a group of 5 people working together in these dungeons to beat these bosses. And yes, it's got epic raids and, of course, PvP mode as well, like I said. But in the end, if you have a chance and you're willing to dabble your toes into a free MMORPG, just remember, it does have a store, so watch it if you have a problem with spending money on stuff like this. But I can recommend you can at least pick up and try Bless Unleashed today. It is a fun game, and I was wondering how they were going to do it with a free-to-play game. And in the end, it's not really that bad, though I do think the boosters for experience points and stuff like that borderline damn near close on pay-to-win mechanics. But in the end, that's just my personal opinion. Leave in the comments below what your opinion is on Bless Unleashed. If you played this game, if you like it or not, what you think it is. Do you think it's better, or do you think it's a generic form of Final Fantasy Online? Make sure to hit the bell icon to stay updated whenever I release any new videos. Hit that like icon if you like this video. And remember, I always end my videos by saying, have fun, play hard, and remember, people, the devil is in the details. Peace out until next time.